Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of Think Business. Looking forward to talking with Harry Barash. Harry, it's great to connect with you, Vice President and AI Farbman, cannabis industry specialist, and looking forward to chatting with you. You know, Harry, before we get started, I'm a business coach. I work with solopreneurs to Fortune companies around the globe who are successful and stuck. I get them unstuck. And so I like to start off every episode really talking about, as a business person, where do you find yourself sometimes getting stuck, and how do you get unstuck?
Where I find myself, first of all, thanks for having me. Good to be here. I appreciate the
Great to have you.
opportunity, and I enjoy your show, and I'm glad, great to be uh, worthy of being on here. So,
It's good to have you.
the hardest time I have really is kind of, taking on too much. And then, trying to be effective in multiple, in all these different aspects. Um, and, you know, so either you have to do everything or you have to bring on people to help you do things. And, I have been able to, add some key players to my, the things that I do, which, NAI Farbman is one of them, as well as other cannabis focused ancillary services that I
Yeah.
provide. So, you know, just obviously managing your growth, trying to do it in a, you know, at a pace that you're comfortable with and that you're capable of handling, and, you know, really being able to manage people as well, and kind of being the orchestrator, if you will, of a ensemble. And, just at the end of the day, you have a job to do. You have to satisfy a client, you have to deliver, and you have to execute. And what it looks like behind the scenes, doesn't always necessarily reflect of what the actual outcome is. So as long as the outcome is good,
Yeah.
right? We can always fix what's, behind the scenes, behind the curtain. So, and that's what we keep doing. We keep trying to learn and get better and become more efficient and become more streamlined, and, creating SOPs, and, just trying to work smarter, and harder is
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. No, I love what you're talking about because, I just want to add one thing. You're talking about delegating, managing the team. If you rewind that, you reverse engineer that, you got to make sure, at the community, we talk about this a lot, you hire great people, because when you grow and scale a business by delegating, and managing and inspecting what you expect, etc. But you got to make sure the right people are on the team. And so what I'm seeing is a lot of people sometimes, they rush to hire and then they can't delegate. And so I just want to kind of bring that up, because I think you bring up some really great points. So let's talk, Harry, um, about you in the business. You've been in the business a long time, and so being in the business a long time, what's one thing that you would look at if you were giving somebody advice on how to um, stay proactive? I recently read a book, and it talked about how a shark is always moving forward, right? It never goes. It always is in momentum. And so how do you keep on finding the momentum within yourself to just keep growing?
A lot of that, comes from passion, loving what you do, right? I think that's really the first thing is, uh, if you love what you do, it just everything really is a lot more fun, and, you know, a lot more authentic as
Yeah.
well. So, you know, I think that's a very critical point, to consider. And then, you really have to, um, figure out how to, figure out what your goal is, right? What your game plan is, where are you today, and what do you want to be, and how are you going to get there? You have to have a roadmap. You have to have some type of strategy, timeline, budget, all the above to be able to plan and follow some guidelines that you've set for yourself, some goals that you've set for yourself to hit certain
Yeah.
bench points, benchmarks. So I think really um, being stagnant, people pass you by, so you have to kind of continue to be to have the ability to pivot and change with market conditions and be nimble and kind of running lean, if you will, where if something happens, COVID, something,
Yeah.
cannabis is very things happen all the time, um, and you can never really get be complacent. You always have to really uh, be able to make a move at overnight.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
So
hear you.
yeah, I think that's really the key is just really being able to be nimble and to pivot
Yeah.
when things happen.
Yeah, and I think in today's world, COVID showed us all of this, like you were saying. But in today's world, you have to be able to pivot quickly. Things are moving so quickly. So no, I appreciate that. I want to do a mini business course with you and highlight three things. You run a very popular private group on Facebook. Uh, uh, um, uh, Michigan Canapros, MI Canapros, and
Correct.
running a private group is of any, regardless of whatever industry you're in, is a difficult task. It's difficult to find the niche. It's difficult to get the audience. It's difficult to keep them engaged. You've done it very successfully. And so, what are kind of the three secrets to building a private group? Yours is on Facebook, and keeping it going and keeping people engaged. What would number one be?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, you know, uh, making sure that you're posting relevant information. I mean, this group started 5.5 years ago, and it was slow out of the gates. I was doing most of the posting, and it was just me and one other person, and then I brought somebody else on, and then we kept kind of like having a slow, a slow growth, consistent growth, and then things just kind of uh, took on a life of their own, and here we are 5 years later, where it's been a lot of work, right? Somebody, it's my baby, so I have to. No one's going to take care of my baby for me, so I still do a lot of work. We're up to 9,200 members. We've probably declined 9,200 members, so we're very particular about who we let in, quality over quantity, all the time, every day, all day. That's always been my motto and always will be. And it's slow and steady wins the race. I mean, you just got to stay on the path, be consistent, be persistent, and you know, you kind of turn into like the police slash referee sometimes, because you want to keep it clean, you want to make sure people are not out of line, you want to make sure people aren't trying to do things that they shouldn't be doing. So that there's a lot of you have to kind of be judge and jury sometimes,
Yeah,
but I look back and I say to myself, um, that really is my biggest accomplishment, is starting a Facebook group that makes no money. And what it's done, obviously, it's given me a platform to be able to try and monetize it. Number one, through um, the cannabis real estate brokerage that I do, and number two, now through events, which I started hosting cannabis, B2B networking events about 2 years ago, and we're actually having another one coming up April 4th in Detroit, where we're anticipating our biggest turnout. We have outgrown our last facility and are expecting anywhere in the neighborhood of 500 to 600 people. So,
Yeah.
starting a Facebook group is great. It's fun, it's exciting, you know, but I think at some point, once it gets to a certain point, you really need to start thinking about next level stuff,
Yeah.
right? What can I do to leverage this platform? How can I have it, you know, benefit more, benefit myself more, and as well as benefiting others, because of course that's what it also does. It's a great resource of information. Now there's people that post, not just myself, and there's a lot of engagement. There's a lot of dialogue, and there's a lot of business being done. And that's really what's kind of helped propel it to become, the most interactive platform on any social media uh,
Yeah.
platform that focuses on the Michigan licensed cannabis market, and it has definitely been, great for myself in expanding, my services.
Yeah. Well, what I'm hearing you say is, you got great content for your audience that you're continually posting. You're making sure that the person and the people who are joining are quality, slow and steady, and then taking the audience that you built, monetizing it in ways that are also in alignment with you as well as uh, the members, and where you can really bring value. So I appreciate that, and think community, regardless of what industry you're in, you can just overlay those philosophies and really make them work. Let's talk about, Harry. You're in the cannabis real estate business, and you're in the event business, and so I think a lot of people are curious, like what that means. If you're not in the business, what that means, right? Cannabis real estate business. Um, like myself and most people, we see things popping up all the time, and it's still relatively newish, although it's not that newish. But what does that mean, and where's the industry going? We're recording this early 2024, but where is the commercial real estate? Where will we be in 12, 24, 36 months in the cannabis space? We're just seeing I'm seeing a lot of activity in that space.
Well, early on, this we just celebrated 5 years of legalization, and I would say pre 5 years, people were making speculative bets on cannabis, and there was a lot of pump fakers at the time, but there were definitely some people that were closing on deals. So all the deals back then were new opportunities, and things were great in the beginning for the first 3 years, where there was still a lot of, and even in actually last year in 2022, there was still growth in the industry. I'm sorry, 2023, there was still growth in the industry, quite a bit of growth actually, from people that started, back in 2020. They started construction back in 2020. It takes 12, 18 months to get a, cultivation facility up and running and getting your first, harvest, and, for the right, for money to start coming in. So, what's happened is, with the state of Michigan is they didn't impose any caps on cultivation processing, um, or other license types. Municipalities are in charge of that, and there's a lot of municipalities that also don't have caps. So uh, there was a lot of people out there early in the game buying up, overpaying, just to hurry up and get to the market, and then not understanding exactly what they were up against in terms of challenges with financing, partnerships, delays, cost overruns, and all the new things that come along with a new industry that people really can't budget for. So there was a lot of mistakes made. There was a lot of uh, you know there've been a lot of curveballs thrown in the industry, and so now what you're seeing today is a lot of those people that that are in trouble are trying to get out. And the problem with that is that you know they have to be prepared to kind of take a loss, because the values of this industry have gone down tremendously, um, all across the board, all across the country, almost, except in new markets that are trying to make that transition from medical or even into medical and then to recreational or adult use.
Yeah.
So so now what you're seeing is people trying to sell their assets, um, and businesses, and maybe the real estate that goes along with it. So our business model has changed from hey, I'm looking for a warehouse in this area, this size, and you were looking for a vacant building, so you were kind of like a traditional you know commercial broker.
Yeah.
Where now you have to really understand design, floor plan, construction, production capacity, to help evaluate a business on what plus depreciated value of these
Yeah.
of the furniture, fixtures, and equipment, to try and come up and replacement cost and time and value of money to get into the market versus building brand new.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of the industry has really changed. There's not too many new grows or new, other than some retail markets happening. And the new grows that are coming online started 2 years ago, when the market was completely different. So
It's interesting, it's like, there's the gold rush and everybody rushes to it, but then like any business, it lays itself out as a business, right?
Sure.
And there's all the nuances of starting a business. And I think sometimes people forget that, think community, a startup is a startup, and there's always the thousands of moving parts and structure and formula that ultimately comes into any business, no matter how chaotic it may be in the beginning when everybody's rushing into it. And I think what I'm hearing you say is it's the pioneers in any business. I was a pioneer in the internet business. I started one when I was 23, and when it was like that gold rush piece, and we quickly structured it as the industry was then beginning to structure as well. And so I think it's great. And what you've done is you've structured that into more education with events that you now throw. So give us kind of a 60-second kind of review on events. I know you said you have one on April, but people may be listening to this after April. So just kind of give a 60-second commercial on what those events are and what people walk away with.
Yeah. So basically, imagine a liquor show, wine show, food show, where you have the vendors that have product, and then you have the retailers or the purchasers of those product, and it's basically the same concept, but it's in cannabis, right? So you have processors and growers that have manufactured products, and you have retailers attending, and then there's a small ancillary component, but really it's a event focused on product procurement and getting product on shelves, introducing buyers of product and sellers of product, and helping basically assisting in selling, brokering product without being a broker.
Yeah. Okay, good. It's great. And I think, and so the people will walk away with what?
The people will walk away with meeting who the purchasing, the people that are responsible for purchasing are, they'll walk away with some samples. They'll walk away with, um, getting a firsthand look at uh, their selection, and really getting face to face, right? The events are still um, are still well received, if they're done right.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like meeting somebody and seeing somebody and putting a name with a face,
Yeah.
and even if you know them, it's always good to kind of run into old faces, and you never know what might strike up. So just being in Detroit, and this being the biggest uh, populated area for the cannabis industry, and it being my backyard, it made sense for me through the group,
Yeah.
you know, to start hosting these types of events, and
Right.
they've been well received. Fortunately,
Great.
we're going on 2 years now, so.
It's great. It's great. Let's do a quick speed round. A book, a TED talk, or an article that's had a big impact on you.
I'm an internet scroller. I I have I have had a lot of good inspiration, coming from like Tony V. Um, I'm sorry, not
Gary V.
Gary V. I'm sorry, and I do follow Tony Robbins as well. I'm a fan of yours, and I appreciate a lot of what you have to say, and so I kind of follow the motivational business type professionals that can help me elevate my game,
Yeah.
and share some knowledge and wisdom on giving some good pointers and just quick little
I'm
tweaks,
the
and
same way.
you
I
know
love them all. I love them all because you can, like you said, you get quick. There's like all these little vignettes, and you get these quick things that you can implement into your day. No, I absolutely love it. Best piece of wisdom you've ever received, Harry.
um, if you believe in what you're doing, keep don't ever give up, and if it's burning a fire in your belly and it's passionate, then that's what you're meant to do. So with me, my two worlds collided, which was real estate and cannabis, and so I'm happy with I've taken the advice of what I've been given, and um, it's really become a passion for me.
Good. Yeah. Last question. One thing everybody can do to find their passion is,
Do some soul searching,
yeah,
and you know there's probably multiple things that bring people passion, um, and it doesn't have to be the most passionate thing that you have passion for. It can also be something that might not be as passionate about but still have a great deal of passion on. But I think doing what you enjoy is really um, is key, and that is you talk to a lot of people that are miserable in their jobs, and you got to be a risk taker, right? You have to. Um, Sometimes your passion doesn't always translate into a viable business, so you also have to have good business sense. And if making a humble amount is good enough for you, great. Then you've accomplished two things. You're making enough money to to live your lifestyle, and you're doing something that you enjoy. So
I love it.
if money's important, then that's got to be a big part of the equation. If it's not, then at least you're doing something that you're passionate about.
Excellent. I love that. Harry, this has been great. Tell everybody where they can connect with you and learn more about you.
Yeah, you can find me You can email me at Farbman, I'm sorry, Barash at Farbman.com, Barash at Farbman.com. If you have any real estate requirements, if you are interested in cannabis events, my email is Harry at gomicannapros.com. So it's Harry at GOMICANNAPROS.com.
Love it. Harry, I appreciate I love this podcast because I get to, have people on it who can shed some great advice on a lot of topics, a lot of business elements of different topics. I think community, I just want to highlight one thing: the importance of finding your passion, the importance of delegating, the importance of hiring the right people, and the importance of learning every day. Harry, this has been great. If you need Harry, give him a buzz. If you need me, you can reach me at johndwoskin.com. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Harry. This was
Thank
great.
you, John.